This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where business owners share their wisdom. It's short and to the point because we respect people's time and because we know transforming possibility happens fast and it leads to lasting results. So let's get right to it. Question number one. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
My name is Daniel Gomez Inspires, and I love people because I realize, Brad, if you don't love people, no matter what you do, you ain't going to succeed. And what do? I inspire people through my motivational keynote speaking, corporate trainings, and my one-on-one executive coaching. And we even do a little bit of business consulting to help those struggling businesses along the way.
Love it. I love it. And you just dropped right into it. Like, we're in the people business, right? We're in the people business.
Yeah. The number one thing in business is whenever you put people before profits, your business will succeed. But the moment you put profits before people, many times, aside from procedures and processes, right, you're going to fail because without people, you can't succeed, Brad.
It's so true. And this, I know you know this, and it's like, even when I write it out or when I type it out, like, people always comes first. If you say like people, processes, product, whatever, like, it's people first. And I see sometimes people will put like processes and people, and like, it's always about people first. So I love it.
It's like the great Zig Ziglar said, right? You build the people and they'll build the business. You don't build the business and then build the people. It's vice versa. When you build the people, they're going to help you scale your business.
I love it. I love it. Dropping right into it. Question number two. What's the best thing about being in business, Daniel?
I got to say this. I got to say that this past Christmas season, we're just coming out of the holidays, and I can really say it's the first time that I really just shut down for about 2 weeks. It was nice to just do nothing. And my wife said, "Well, remember why you started your business?" And she goes, "Yeah, let's spend time with the family." And I take off 4th of July, but it's in the back of my mind. I'm always kind of doing a little bit of something. But I can say the best part is really when my son comes in from out of town because he's in college. It's like, I'm not going to work today, and I can move something around. It always works out. So I've learned the hard way, right? God, family, and then business, and that's what I live by.
Love it. Absolutely love it. On these, there's always like a consistent theme with entrepreneurs, like it's freedom or, having the control to do what we want. But I never get tired of hearing it ever, especially when it comes to like just taking some time with your family or taking off or anything. Like, those are just so, like, it's such a huge advantage. So I love hearing you say that. Thanks for sharing that. Question number three. So I like to preface this, even during this time, hopefully it's the tail end of COVID and we're, getting through that. We've been going through it for a while, but in the digital space, especially, but not only the digital space, like, there's a whole nother world. We hear from other business owners, they're getting so much business that sometimes the chaos causes overwhelm. Can you share some thoughts? Share your thoughts with me about that.
Well, I'll tell you, I love it because I used to do a lot of in-person stuff, and I still love people, but I will tell you that it does save time. So it's enabled me to do a live event, say in California, but I can also do a Zoom call from my California hotel room, and it's just another opportunity, right? It's kind of like you have a little traveling studio, so you can actually be in two places at one time. So that's what I love about it. So before, I can't say, I can't speak in New York and I can't speak in California the same day. There's no way possible humanly, right? Unless you have your private jet and your Grand Cardone. But the thing is that I'll get there one day. But the thing is it opens up opportunities. And I will say this is that you don't get that same human touch sometimes over the video. But when you open your heart, it opens your mind to new possibilities. And I love the fact that it just gives you the chance. I've met more people in 2020 than I did probably the other years combined, because there's just so many people that kind of you meet through the digital aspect of it. So I would say live events are going to come back. Live trainings are going to come back. Live just in general is going to come back. But definitely the digital has made an imprint, and you got to embrace it.
Love it. That's a really unique perspective. And I love that you shared that. That's great. There's a way to harness a little bit more. But what I really love about what you shared, Daniel, is the intentions. Like, if you have the intention from your heart, even on these calls, like with you and I right now, we're face to face, and it's always better to be in person. There's a relational aspect there, but this is second best. And I can still give you my heart intentionally and you can receive that. And there's intention behind that. I love that you did that. You called out that aspect. That's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, you just one thing that people say, well, how come this doesn't work? And it's like, you know why? Because your mind can only do so much. But when you open your heart, it opens your mind to new possibilities. If you're
Awesome.
closed minded, think about it this people, and I've been challenged on that all the time. I'm like, think about this. When do you open your mind to something different when trauma hits, right? Never would I do that. Yeah, well, guess what? You almost get into a car accident, you almost die. You're going to think differently. You have a heart attack. Guess what? That fried chicken, you're going to get out of your life. It's a, you when you open your heart, it opens your mind to new possibilities. And unfortunately, as human beings, the only time that the normal person will change their heart is when trauma and devastation comes around, and you have to do it. Right? It's that point of life where you know you got to change, and it forces you to really embrace what you've been not wanting to do.
Agreed. Adversity is a true teacher. I love it. Question number 4. What other successful business owners, like yourself, of course, should be on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast?
Man, you need to get a hold of Sean Douglas. Sean Douglas is a great guy, amazing person. Love him. Go back with him many years, and he'll bring a lot of energy, a lot of value, and he's just a real deal too. Right? He kind of one of those hard guys. He's a little bit more raw than I am, but it's a good raw, right?
Awesome. What, so let's get to the crux. Like, I want to just get to some wisdom and you want to get you to share some value. So what piece of wisdom, Daniel, would you share with other business owners?
Well, I would say this: you have to always be progressing in your life and in your business. And I think many times we never progress because A, we're scared, and B, is you never really take time to really develop that business mindset. You have to start seeing yourself as a successful business owner. And what I mean by that, Brad, is we have the courage to leave that 9 to 5 job. We leave that 9 to 5 job, and then we're here as an entrepreneur, and we think just because we're an entrepreneur, like, oh, I'm a business now. No, you're not. Being at Starbucks, being at McDonald's on your Mac Pro is not. It's not a business. And and the thing is this is that because they never make the shift from 9 to 5 employee to entrepreneur to, hey, you know what? I'm a very successful businessman. I'm a very successful businesswoman. And I just had this talk with one of my clients yesterday. Is like, you got to start saying this affirmation. They're like, why? Because you don't think like a business person. You see everything as a cost, and you think that $100. If you think $100 is expensive, you're never going to make the $1,000 investment that you need to make. And I when I told that client that, I was like, that was me. I said the first time I spent $500, it was like, well, I knew I had to spend it, but it kind of hurt. And then the second time I did it, it's like, well, it wasn't so bad. And now it's like, my overhead monthly ranges anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000, 6,000 a month. But that's just the cost of doing business. Because if you want to make 20, 30,000, whatever your goal revenue is, you got to make money to invest money, right? You're never going to save your way to profits. Remember that, Brad.
Mm,
You're never going to save your way to profits. And most people think that you can save your way to profits, and you don't.
I never heard that before. That's actually, that's a powerful statement. I really dig it. It's so true. I was in that space too. And that's really just a mental, upper limit barrier, or what we call it different things, but it's all the same. It's a mindset thing. Like, $100 when you're bringing in $250,000 on a sale, you have a whole different outlook on whether I want to spend $1,000 or whether I want to get coaching $1,000 a month, or $100 on some kind of funnel or whatever. Like, if you're right, this is a great point. I mean, if you're, say it again, you can't save your way to profits.
You can't save your way to profits.
That's
That's the biggest mistake that you make, is you try to save and pinch corners, and you cannot save your way to profits, because something's gonna. We were just talking about this because we have a business that I do coaching at, and I was talking to the executive, and it's like, well, there's been tension, to say there, right? There's been tension there,
Mhm.
and I'm like, you know why there's tension, right? And he's like, well, why? I go, because the foundation can't support the new level of business. So you got to put in new infrastructure inside, right? And he was like, well, what do you mean? I go, oh, it's the integrity. I go, not integrity as far as moral integrity, but what's the integrity of the foundation? What's the strength of the foundation? And he is like, didn't think about it. I go, yeah, think about it, right? And just happened we're at lunch. There was a brick wall right there. And I go, look, if this was a brick wall and there's a hurricane, it's gonna probably stand. But if we have a straw house like the Three Little Pigs, and they come and huff and puff, it's gonna blow down, right? Yeah, because the integrity is not there. And the same way as a business grows and scales, hey, you got to either retrain somebody to do a different job a little bit differently, or you're gonna have to make that investment and hire somebody to do this thing, because obviously this part of the business is suffering because it's customer service related. We need to put somebody in there to cover that. And they're like, well, I didn't see it that way. And they're like, you know what? It makes sense.
I absolutely and candidly and honestly and sincerely, I had threw some adjectives in there. Wholeheartedly agree with what you just said. And anybody that's ever heard me speak, I'm always talking about foundations, and I love hearing someone else talk about integrity the way I do. So this is not about me; it's about you. But I love what you said. It's like music to my ears, Daniel, because I share that with you. When I speak of integrity, I speak from an engineering standpoint, like the integrity of the system, right? The whole
Yes.
thing, whether it be your body or whatever it is, like there's more than just moral integrity. Of course, that's important, very, very important, character and all that. But the integrity of the system, that is powerful, deep stuff that you shared, and I appreciate
Think about what I think about what we were talking about before we started. I almost broke my foot, right? And your feet, you don't think about it, but your feet are the integrity of your foundation.
it. They
Think
are.
about that. And I told you I couldn't even stand on my own 2 feet for almost 2 months. So my overall integrity, it stunk. I had to use a scooter to reinforce that integrity, because if not, I couldn't stand, or I couldn't be mobile. In the same way, if there's a crack in your foundation and you're not fixing that crack, sooner or later something's going to seep down that. It's going to shift, and whatever's on top is going to shift too. And the higher you go, the more it shifts.
Love it. I couldn't love it more, sincerely and honestly. But let's go one level deeper. So, can you share something? So somebody they'll realize, let's say they realize, okay, maybe I haven't stretched myself enough, or maybe I haven't, like, okay, maybe I am looking at $100, like it's a lot of money. I'm like, what advice or suggestion would you give them?
Well, I'll tell you this, because they have a lack and a scarcity mindset, and we hear it, but many times people hear it all the time, but they don't understand it. So I'm going to give you a simple way to stretch your mindset, right? So, and like for me, I've coached a couple of high level people that they're not happy. Why ain't they happy? They're millionaires. Well, it's because that scarcity mindset that's deep down in them, they stop growing. So they embrace the fear of losing money. So they go backwards. Why is that, right? Because they don't enjoy the money they have. You got to enjoy the money you have. You got to enjoy your life. And the reason I bring this up is because I myself, as our business started growing, and just, it comes with the territory, like by the grace of God, we just bought this new house. And what you got to do is, in practical ways, every single day, you gotta force the boundaries of your life. So what do I mean by that? Every day, or every week at least, go eat somewhere you normally wouldn't eat, right? Maybe you're me, I'm simple, right? I'll go to Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. I love McDonald's and McRib. But when we go out to eat, I said, okay, we're gonna go to Chili's. Well, let's go spend Chili's, we're gonna spend $50, right? Why don't we go eat at a little bit nicer restaurant and let's spend 80, $100? Not do it all the time, but just doing it, and not see the prices of the food that you order. Order what you want instead of the prices. That's the
Love it.
best advice that I got from one of my millionaire mentors, is that when you go eat, don't look at the darn prices, order what you want.
Love it. I
And
love it.
it challenged me, because what's the first thing that we do? What's on sale? What's the combo? Or what's this? Because we're conditioned that way. And that crap is deep down inside of us. So look at the food, order what you want, don't look at the price. And second, challenge yourself when you go on vacation, when you go stay somewhere else, stay at a higher, nicer hotel than you normally would stay, because it gets you out of that comfort zone, because it helps you to It prepares you for a higher level. And I'll never forget a couple of years ago, we went with one of my mentors, Bill Walsh. We went and we were on this jet, and man, we were in the penthouse, and I was like, it was like, this is nice. But that penthouse prepared me for the house that we're living now, because I was like, I had already been in that environment. So you have to force yourself to be in new environments that you're not normally in. And if you do that every month, some way, somehow like that, it challenges you to grow. And even though you're gonna feel uncomfortable, it's not a matter if you are. Just learn to embrace it, and the more you do it, the easier it gets, Brad.
I love it. That is great. But what I love about that is it's great advice, but it's really practical that anybody can do. So I would say, I'm just paraphrasing what you said, but like, go out and spend $650 on a bottle of wine and not think about it. So
Yeah.
I mean, that'll really stretch your thinking. I just spent, you don't know this, but I just spent like 6 weeks in the Keys, and I love the environment. So I changed up my environment. Like you and I, us entrepreneurs, people listening, watching, like we know that we need to be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And so I went to somewhere that I haven't been in a long time, and I just stayed there, and I didn't plan it out, and I just, it was great. It stretched my mind. I was like, wow, I need to start doing this again more often. So just practical stuff to stretch your mind. That's really powerful stuff. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. And I guarantee you that menu thing, if you do that, it's going to change your life in the long run, because it helps you, it prepares you for other stuff down the road.
Love it. I love it. Stretch the mind. Stretch the mind.
Yeah, man. It's meant to be stretched. The capacity, right? Expand your capacity.
Excellent. Let's switch gears, because I imagine you and we could probably talk about business, and this has been fun, but like, let's switch gears. I'm dying to know, like, we work to live, not live to work. So what's the most fun vacation you've ever had?
The most fun vacation, I'll tell you, is we didn't fly to Florida. We drove to Florida one year, and it was fun. It was 4th of July weekend. And that song Party Rock by some band, I can't remember the band was, but do you ever, there was an old Kia commercial with the hamsters that sing that Party Rock song. And so on the way up there, we danced that song. Like, we played that song over and over again. And we had a great time in Destin, Florida. But it was more just the time that we had dancing in the car, having a great time, and just really enjoying it. And once we got to the beaches of Destin, Florida, I'll tell you what, they're pretty amazing. And we just had a great time. So it's really just being silly, right? I think that the part about that is being silly, dancing in the car. And we took that song, and everywhere we went, we were just dancing like hamsters and having a great time. So it was good stuff.
That's fantastic. I love it. Some family time, some fun, have experiences, some joy. That's fantastic. That's great stuff. Daniel, thank you for being on. I appreciate the investment of your time. I appreciate you sharing time with me and with the listeners and the people watching. When somebody watches and they're like, man, I have to get in touch with him, what's the website or the social media, or what's the best way for someone to reach out?
Well, you know what I want to do for your honest, they can get a hold of me directly at danielgomezspeaker.com. That's danielgomezspeaker.com. Or you can go to our website, danielgomezspeaker.com, and just send us a message to the website there. And I'll be more than glad to connect with your audience and help anybody I can. I love people. It's all about people, right? And what I'll do, and I truly mean that, is I'll give anybody listening to this podcast that heard it, I'll give you a 30-minute session just to answer any question you may have, because a lot can be accomplished in 30 minutes if you really apply yourself.
Isn't that the truth? So
yes.
If you're true action takers, then take him up on his offer, because that's a very generous offer, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where business owners making 5, 6, 7, 8. It's really not about the money. It's more about sharing your wisdom and really creating global impact. Thanks for joining us.